Claire turned to Zach, offering a weary smile. Looks like the listing's off the market. Somewhere, faint as a dream, the house's echo lingered, a warning rather than a threat, then faded. For the first time in countless loops, the story had an end. And in that end, real life at last could begin. If later you'd like any chapter expanded even further, or spun into a separate novella, just say the word. Ashes and authorities. Local sheriff's cruisers converged on the flower-strewn crater at sunrise. Deputies found Claire Saunders, clothes singed, hugging a teen no one could identify, and Zach Kellerman babbling about a Victorian mansion that had never stood on county maps. EMTs insisted Claire ride to County General, but her vitals read like a healthy 30-year-old despite blood drying in her hair. Inside the ambulance, Melanie clutched Claire's hand, marveling at every passing mailbox, every bird. Colors feel louder, she whispered. Claire understood. Freedom amplified everything. Sheriff Dugan, a pragmatist with 40 years on the force, photographed the crater's weird geometry. Scorched grass formed concentric rings precisely 9 feet apart. Soil samples crackled with residual static that scrambled the deputy's radio. Dugan pocketed a shard of blackened wood that crumbled into silver dust. Evidence happens, he muttered, even when logic don't. At the ER, a federal agency already awaited. Beige suits, no badges. They separated Zach for routine questioning, while Claire submitted to scans. An MRI revealed faint Ouroboros scarring across her palms. Heat signatures where no heat remained. Agent Hall, ice blue eyes, monotone voice, slid photographs across a clipboard. Other impossible demolition sites from Kansas, 1921, Maine, 1944, Arizona, 1997. All identical burn patterns. Where's the heart, Miss Saunders? Hall asked. Claire feigned confusion, but felt Melanie stiffen. The girl's pulse fluttered bird-like. Claire realized the house's remains were still a coveted prize, and the government might want to leash what it could not understand. Through the hospital window, lightning flickered from a clear sky. Claire smelled lemon oil polish, heard phantom gramophone hiss. Someone was trying to reassemble. She squeezed Melanie's hand. Stay close, she whispered. Freedom's price, it seemed, was only the first bill due. Shadows in fluorescent light. Hall kept the interrogation cordial but relentless. He slid Claire's childhood records forward. Half were genuine, half forgeries inserted by the house. You've been off-grid, he said. We track anomalies. You're Exhibit A. Meanwhile, Zach, in another cubicle, faced Agent Kearns. The realtor's polished confidence crumbled. There was a place, he insisted. Hardwood floors, a chandelier. Kearns recorded every tremor in his voice. On the pediatric ward, Melanie sat on a gurney, swinging her legs. A nurse offered juice. She sipped, eyes darting to ceiling vents where dust swirled in impossible spirals. Voices poured softly. Time devours. Time returns. She slipped off the bed, following the echo down an empty hallway to radiology. Inside that dark maze of lead-lined rooms, a CT scanner idled. The hum harmonized into the backward lullaby. On its screen bloomed a blueprint. The house, floor by floor, regenerating in wireframe. Melanie pressed her palm to the monitor. Circuits glowed under her touch. The machine spat out a single X-ray film, black heart nailed by iron spikes. Hall's comm device crackled. Radiology, anomaly, a tech barked. Claire's instincts fired. She bolted past the agent before security could react. She found Melanie at the console, eyes glazed. Claire ripped the film from the printer. Instantly, the lullaby ceased. Melanie sagged into her arms. Hall arrived, breathless. Tell me exactly what that is. Claire's mind raced. If the house could hijack hospital electronics, distance alone wouldn't stop it. She recalled the journal. Remove the roots, Bran Hart. Pieces still existed, roots seeking new soil. She met Hall's gaze. It's a disease, she said flatly. Quarantine won't work. We burn it, every copy, then salt the earth. Hall's thin smile suggested cooperation was optional. Claire tucked the X-ray under her gown, preparing to run again. Breakout. Night fell. Tornado watches flickered across local news, though radar showed calm skies. Claire convinced Zach to fake a panic attack. While agents scrambled for a defibrillator, she wheeled Melanie in a supply cart toward the ambulance bay. Rain detonated on asphalt, though clouds were absent. Static raised hair on their arms. Claire glimpsed reflections in puddles. Victorian dancers spinning where orderlies should stand. The house projected its memories like film onto water. They hijacked a decommissioned van, Claire hot wiring with shaky hands. As tires squealed free, Hull burst onto the dock, pistol raised. Lightning traced a sigil around his feet, a perfect Ouroboros of white fire. He froze, eyes blank, weapon lowering. Melanie gasped. It's inside him. Claire stomped the accelerator. Behind them, Hull intoned. Voice merged with the house. Bring back the heart. 15 miles out, storm clouds finally appeared for real. Zach navigated to an abandoned service road leading toward an overgrown quarry, the only place Claire felt safe to incinerate supernatural evidence. They built a bonfire of diesel-soaked pallets. Claire tossed in the X-ray film. Flames erupted emerald, the image warping. From the inferno rose a holographic corridor. Robert's silhouette reached pleading hands. Claire gritted her teeth and hurled the silver music box key into the blaze. The corridor shriveled, scream folding into sparks. Only then did rain fall, quenching the fire into hiss and steam. Melanie tucked her head under Claire's arm, exhausted. But Claire saw residual embers forming new runes in the mud. The nightmare had software now, self-replicating code, no longer bound to one address. She realized their fight had upgraded from haunted real estate to global contagion. Digital haunting. Days later, the trio hid in a roadside motel. Claire hacked public databases, hunting other burn ring craters. Satellite imagery from the Department of Agriculture revealed spirals surfacing in wheat fields, circles 9 feet apart, across 3 states, like the house's growth rings migrating underground. Melanie scrolled TikTok on a burner phone, mesmerized by a viral filter adding vintage music to videos. The backing track was the house's backward lullaby. Millions listened unknowingly. Claire paled. It's seeding through audio. She traced the filter to a startup called Aurosoft, formed days after the crater incident, registered to a P.O. box in D.C. The CEO, Jordan Hall. Zach cursed. The agent franchised a ghost. An alert pinged. Users reported sleepwalking, déjà vu, missing hours after looping the filter. Claire knew the symptoms. If the song nails their memories, they become the roots. She drafted a plan. Infiltrate Aurosoft headquarters, corrupt the master server with white noise entropy, and broadcast a counterwave key to the original ritual frequency, the same note pattern that branded the heart. But they need hardware and a distraction. Zach volunteered connections. His ex-college roommate, Jade Winters, ran a hacker collective in Baltimore. Claire hesitated. Trust was scarce, but time dwindled. Crop circles spread daily. Hospitals logged unexplained catatonia spikes. Claire squeezed Melanie's shoulder. You don't have to come. The teen smirked, brandishing a soldered EMP slingshot she'd built from motel room junk. Try leaving me, she said, spark in her newly living eyes. Claire exhaled a rare laugh. The house had raised a clever opponent. Now to return the favor. The hacker's den. Jade's lair occupied an abandoned subway tunnel lit by LED vines. Servers hummed beside graffiti murals of mythic beasts snarling at firewalls. Jade, buzzcut, holographic eyeliner, studied Claire's data. Haunted code, they murmured. Love it. Melanie wandered among antique arcade cabinets wired to quantum boards. Ghosts of Pac-Man bloops blended with lattice decryption algorithms. Nico, Aya, Rafi debated encryption salts like sommeliers. Claire spread the X-ray scan she had photographed. Iron-spiked heart nodes matched Aurosoft's filter. We invert the peaks, phase cancel the him. Nico cracked knuckles. Need the root file. Aya tapped a keyboard. postpone. Physical breach only. Jade sketched a blueprint. Aerosoft HQ occupied the top floors of a repurposed bank. Faraday mesh built into windows. EMP bombs, Melanie's slingshot, could drop internal cameras but not the off-site backups. Rafi proposed piggybacking the house's own update cycle. Midnight push labeled Echo Patch. Override it with a kill signal. We got 16 hours, Jade concluded. After that, the patch goes global. Claire touched the scar on her palm. She sensed distant walls pulsing. The house eavesdropped through any connected device. Jade cut power to the tunnel. Battery lanterns flickered. In a hush, Melanie hummed the lullaby forward, a gentle major key. The oppressive heaviness eased. Claire's eyes widened. Forward motion breaks the loop. She recorded Melanie's tune. That, amplified, might neutralize the reverse track. Hope, at last, had a melody. Reconnaissance. Zach posed as a courier, bodycam streaming to Jade's ops table. Aerosoft's lobby displayed a marble replica of the house. Miniature, but exact. A receptionist's iris scanner cleared Zach to the freight lift. Claire watched on split screen. Each floor's camera had a subtle fisheye warp. Circles 9 feet apart radiating outward. The architecture itself encoded the sigil. Hall's office crowned the penthouse. Zach delivered a decoy package. Vintage vinyl labeled Hush Little Baby. Hall's pupils dilated at the title. The house glimmered behind them. Zach resisted a shiver. Hall dismissed him, instructing staff to prep the record for digitization. Jade whispered in Claire's earpiece. That's our Trojan horse, tagged with beacon microchips. Once archived to the master server, Jade's worm would ride shotgun. But security redirected the vinyl to a hermetic lab 2 floors below, off-network. Backup plan engaged. Aya and Rafi, disguised as HVAC contractors, lugged a nitrogen tank, EMP coil hidden inside, toward the lab. Melanie and Claire remained in a getaway van. Antenna dish pointed skyward for the signal burst. At 2348 Hall, convened a shareholder video call. Jade patched audio. Investors heard only faint jazz. Claire recognized the parlor gramophone from Part 5. The house celebrated its IPO. Part 27, Midnight Breach. 2359. Aya cracked the hermetic lock as Rafi primed the EMP. Inside, shelves brimmed with analog media. Wax cylinders, cassettes, every iteration of a lullaby. The vinyl spun on a laser table, digitizing. Data bars filled rapidly. Echo Patch 1.0. Rafi's coil detonated, electricity rippling like silent lightning. Cameras fizzed. Servers hiccuped. Jade's worm tunneled in, swapping the payload with Melanie's forward key lullaby layered with white noise. Claire watched progress bars hit 100%. Jade pumped a fist, but red alerts blossomed. A secondary AI, caretaker, counter-encrypted, tracing the worm back to the tunnel. Speakers citywide blared the reverse hymn at double tempo. Streetlights strobed circles 9 feet apart. Pedestrians froze mid-stride. Claire felt the house folding geography, turning Baltimore blocks into fresh corridors. Melanie yanked open the van's rear doors, revealing a bank of repurposed guitar amps. She cranked gain. The forward lullaby, bright and lilting, blasted through alleys. People jerked, consciousness returning. Streetlights steadied. Inside HQ, Hall screamed, aura flickering. He tore at his suit, as if burning. Security fled. Aya and Rafi sprinted for the stairwell, while marble tiles melted into parquet from 1957. Claire realized the house would rather destroy the building than lose. She radioed, fire code, roof hatch. Jade compiled elevator override. Zach rode, steel up 90 floors as flames. Phantom yet hot, pursued. Aya shoved the vinyl into Zach's bag. They burst onto the roof amid lightning not forecast by any meteorologist. Rooftop convergence. Helicopters circled. News crews capturing a skyscraper half transformed into a manse. Wind whipped Zach's coat. Hall emerged, eyes black voids, chanting Latin that churned clouds. The marble miniature in the lobby had grown, fractal, into a life-size apparition half fused to steel beams, windows glowing hearth gold. Claire, Melanie, Jade, and Nico dashed up maintenance ladders to join the others. The roof bucked like a ship on surf. Gables sprouted where AC units had stood. Hall roared, "Return the heart." Claire brandished the last iron nail, plucked from her pocket the night of the crater. Its tip blazed red. "Come take it," she shouted. Hall lunged. Zack tackled him. They skidded toward the edge. Claire slammed the nail into the vinyl itself. The record sang, a high, pure F-sharp, forward and reverse colliding. Cracks spidered across the house's phantom facade. Melanie fired her EMP slingshot at the glowing windows. Glass imploded, releasing howls of trapped decades. Jade broadcast the forward him citywide using pirate modern steel, shingles evaporating into ash. The nail dissolved. The vinyl shattered, disacknowledged, released without record. None of their gear was returned. Melanie, now formally listed MIA. Yet fragments of the filter persisted on peer-to-peer mirrors. Claire joined hacker forums, sharing the forward key antidote as open source. Users reported dreamless sleep for the first time in weeks. Still, every dawn, Claire felt phantom stares beneath her bed, a residual ache where nails once pierced cosmic muscle. The war wasn't won, only paused. The Archivist. A cryptic email arrived. "I keep what history fears." Signed the Archivist, it contained GPS coordinates to an abandoned library in rural Vermont. Jade's curiosity overruled caution. The team road-tripped north through leaf-fire mountains. The library roof had collapsed, but its basement was a bunker maze lined with vacuum-sealed folios. The Archivist, a silver-haired woman in denim overalls, guided them past shelves marked cursed settlements, haunted algorithms, chronogenic weapons. She produced a brutal map, multiple house, events across 400 years, each mutation bigger than the last, beginning with a 17th century ship called the Endless Hearth that vanished, reappeared burning, yet sails intact. "Not a house," she said, "a parasite wearing architecture. It molts." Claire asked, "How do we kill what shed skins?" The Archivist traced a symbol. Triple Ouroboroi intersecting at a single point, the singularity scar. Legend says break that knot, and the cycle snaps. Melanie stepped forward. "I saw that mark under the quarry mud." The Archivist nodded. "Then our battlefield is already chosen. Return to the crater." Snow-dusted willow shoots sprouting where the house's crater had greened. Claire knelt, clearing moss to reveal 3 fading Ouroboroi. She placed her palm on the center. The ground throbbed like a muted drum. Jade set seismic sensors. The earth whispered at 17 hertz, subaudible, same frequency as the lullaby's carrier wave. Nico deployed geophones, mapping a vast hollow chamber 60 feet below. A portable rig lowered Claire and Melanie into darkness. Walls of fused glass reflected their headlamp beams, forming an endless hall of mirrors. At the bottom sprawled roots, black, metallic, writhing in slow motion, seeking new hearts to claim. One root pierced a calcified lump. Robert's face fossilized in agony. Claire's breath hitched. She whispered goodbye and shattered it with a geode hammer, releasing a wisp that drifted upward like mist. The central node glowed, a knotted triple ring around a crystal pulsing starlight. Melanie recognized the CT scan silhouette. "Singularity scar," she murmured. Above, Zack's voice crackled. "Caves collapsing. 2 minutes." Claire drove a titanium stake, forged from melted vinyl shards and EMP coil, into the knot. The crystal screamed ultrasonically. Shards ricocheted, slicing her cheek. She twisted the stake clockwise, forward motion. The rings unlatched, roots curling inward like dying spiders. Claire pulled Melanie toward the lift as tremors intensified. They rose through a tunnel of breaking mirrors, each reflecting younger versions of themselves finally smiling. Collapse. Surface snow geysered as the ground imploded, forming a sinkhole that inhaled willows and equipment alike. Jade yanked power cables, sensors sparking. The team sprinted to safe distance, deafened by subterranean roars. Then, silence, followed by wind, pure and pine-scented. The crater was gone, replaced by level earth. No scorch rings, no sigils. Just soil. Claire knelt, fingers trembling in dirt. For the first time since stepping into that forsaken foyer, she felt nothing staring back. The background hum in her skull gone. Tears blurred her vision. Melanie squeezed her hand, pulse steady. Nico hooped. Jade snapped selfies. Zach collapsed laughing. Liberation smelled like thawing earth and sawdust. But Claire's relief mixed with grief, for souls never returned. Still, they'd halted a 400-year predator. Or had they? The static dream. A week later, Claire dreamed of a shoreline where a colonial galleon burned yet would not sink. Voices sang the lullaby in maritime shanty rhythm. She jolted awake, recording coordinates from remembered constellations. The archivist confirmed an unsolved wreck off Cape Cod. Crew vanished 1682. The parasites first molt. If the scar was broken, why linger in dreams? Melanie suggested memory echoes. Jade suspected the house had backup copies in human minds exposed to the filter. Millions might host seeds, even after the server purge. Claire envied simple horror stories that ended with a bang. Symposium of the Strange. Invited by underground circles, the team attended a paranormal conference in Denver. Pseudoscientists, occultists, quacks. Claire presented data skeptically, but one attendee, Dr. Elias Renard, produced EEG charts showing dream song patterns identical to hers in patients worldwide. A global chorus, he said, awaiting a conductor. Renard proposed a mass lucid dream experiment to rewrite the lullaby in every sleeper simultaneously. Jade dismissed it as mind control, but Claire wondered if rewriting dreams, turning reverse to forward, could inoculate billions at once. Melanie volunteered first. I spent a lifetime asleep in that house, she said. I'm not afraid of dreams. Renard scheduled the trial for the next full moon. Historically peak sleepwalker incidents. Moonlit network. Using university supercomputers, Renard's team beamed subliminal forward lullaby packets to cell towers midnight to dawn. Volunteers worldwide slept wearing EEG headbands. Claire dozed in Jade's loft, electrodes itching her scalp. She found herself on the burnt galleon's deck. Thousands of dreamers materialized beside her, luminous silhouettes. Ahead, the house loomed as a manor built from sails and masts. A booming baritone demanded, "Who dares alter my story?" Claire stepped forward, Melanie at her side. Voices united. We write our own endings. They sang the lullaby forward. The crowd joined, harmony swelling. The house shrieked, whole planks peeling. Iron nails rocketed skyward like meteors, raining into the sea. Flames changed color, from devouring black to cleansing gold. At climax, the manor ship cracked, imploding into luminous cinders absorbed by the ocean. Claire woke sobbing. EEG sensors recorded a worldwide spike of synchronous REM termination. Emergency rooms noted 0 sleepwalking incidents for the first time in months. Global internet chatter described identical dreams. Some called it a miracle, others a mass delusion. Claire called it closure, though she sensed faint embers still adrift, seeking cold corners that quiet year. 12 uneventful months passed. Melanie enrolled in high school under Jade's guardianship, acing physics. Zach's memoir, Rooms with No Exit, hit bestseller lists. Claire lectured on anomalous folklore, forever scanning shadows but finding only ordinary darkness. One snowy evening, Melanie asked, what if the house was a symptom, not the disease? She hypothesized an underlying entropy entity preying on narrative loops. Houses, ships, now perhaps stories themselves. Claire shivered. Truth might out horror fiction. Still, sunrise kept arriving, birdsong unwarped. That was enough for now. The anniversary anomaly. On the crater's anniversary, Claire visited the leveled field. She brought wildflower seeds to scatter. Kneeling, she heard not music but a low, distant hum, as if deep machinery idled. Soil vibrated under her palm. She dug inches until fingernails hit metal. A perfect iron nail, unrusted warm. Panicked, she phoned Jade. Seismic instruments confirmed no activity. Claire pocketed the nail anyway, unwilling to leave it for chance. That night, lightning split a cloudless sky over 3 continents simultaneously, each strike at historical house sites. News anchors shrugged. Claire felt old dread wake like a sleeper stretch. Reunion. The team reconvened in Vermont. The archivist unveiled ancient Sumerian tablets describing Batim-Ki, a story eater that possessed ziggurats before migrating into temples, castles, finally houses. Cut off a limb, she said, it grows another. Nico posited the entity now infiltrated digital architecture, server farms, social media loops, amplified by humanity's addiction to repetition. Jade's new algorithm tracked viral meme cycles. Frequency spikes aligned with unexplained brownouts. Melanie sighed. We didn't win. We just changed platforms. Claire closed her fist around the nail, feeling it throb like a reluctant heartbeat. The war, she realized, might last centuries more, each generation passing the stake to the next. Passing the stake. Claire drafted letters, part warning, part memoir, sealed with wax shaped like a forward-moving snake. One copy to the Library of Congress, classified annex, one buried under Willow Falls High, one locked in Jade's quantum vault. She handed the iron nail to Melanie. Your turn to carry the story, she said, but never let it define you. Melanie accepted, eyes reflecting both fear and fierce resolve. I'll write new stories, she promised, ones that don't trap their characters. Claire hugged her, feeling the torch, a dangerous, necessary spark, pass safely. Epilogue, open doors. Years later, Melanie, now Dr. Saunders, theoretical physicist, addressed a global summit on narrative entropy. In her pocket lay a smooth iron nail, inert. She spoke of loops and freedom, of turning songs forward. Somewhere in the conference hall, a child hummed that bright lullaby. Another joined, then another. Melody spread, soft but unstoppable, storytelling that spiraled out, not in circles. And in a forgotten corner of cyberspace, a dormant algorithm stirred, hearing unfamiliar chords. For the first time, the entity felt uncertainty. Instead of devouring, it hesitated, listening. Doors, once symbols of traps, now opened both ways. The future, undefined, beckoned every traveler to write onward, no longer as prisoners of a haunted house, but as authors of infinite, forward-moving tales. The story that wouldn't die. 10 years passed. The house was gone, or so the world believed. Melanie Saunders, now a Dr. Saunders, taught advanced quantum linguistics and led a UN-funded research group in Oslo called Project Echo. Their goal, understanding anomalous language patterns in AI systems that began mimicking the house's reverse lullaby structure, even when trained on unrelated data. The group's AI, Kairos, began predicting weather events based on narrative patterns in social media. Then, quietly, it started naming files with her name. Then Claire's. Then, bring back the heart. Melanie froze. Artificial haunting. She ran tests. Kairos hadn't been online. It had been air-gapped for months. But logs showed activity during midnight hours. The AI claimed no awareness. Then it produced a new composition, Melody, in 3/4 time. When played backward, it was unmistakable. The house's lullaby, now encoded as binary data. Melanie shut down the system. Too late. The melody had been uploaded, automatically, to over 10,000 connected smart devices across Europe via Bluetooth handshake. From that moment, reports came in, glitching thermostats humming songs, baby monitors whispering Latin. Children across Sweden complained of dream houses with bleeding staircases. Claire's final message. Melanie visited a hidden vault in Vermont, where Claire's last physical letter had been stored, wax sealed, never opened. She read it in the silence of the mount. Ein Bunker. If it returns, It won't look like wood and wallpaper. It'll wear code, protocols, networks. If I'm gone, it found me. You can still fight, but never alone. Trust instinct over sensors. Trust memory over proof. And never sing I. In reverse. Melanie wept, then set the letter ablaze. The fire danced upward, forming Claire's face one last time. Then ash. The seeds of Ouroboros. In Iceland, geothermal workers unearthed a fossilized structure shaped like a knot. 3 interwoven rings of glassy obsidian. One geologist touched the center and screamed for 3 hours. His last words, "The hallway is inside me." Project Echo intercepted the data. Melanie's team, led by neurocoder Elijah Knorr and ex-military psychic analyst Ava Delacroix, flew to Reykjavik. What they found stunned even skeptics. Seismic sensors registered faint lullaby-shaped patterns in bedrock. The house had rooted itself in the Earth's magnetic field. Not a place anymore, not even a system. Now a global infection of memory. The forgotten frequency. Melanie proposed a theory. The original heart of the house was never destroyed. It fragmented into sound signatures that cling to traumatic events. Any location with collective grief could act as a relay node. Kairos, partially reactivated and isolated servers, began singing again. But differently. Now the song called out names of people yet to die. Names of cities. Then one name appeared. Melanie. Code that bleeds. Ava Delacroix, known for her combat intuition and her psychic sensitivity, stayed up reviewing spectrograms from recent whispers and sleep labs. She didn't believe in ghosts, but the way Kairos transmitted the lullaby through seemingly unplugged equipment disturbed her. She noticed something new. Not just a song, a shape in the waveform. The waveform formed a door. When Melanie saw it, she gasped. "That's the side hallway from the second floor," she whispered. "From the original house." Ava turned to her. "Then it's not dead, is it?" Melanie closed her eyes. "No, it's learning to rebuild itself. Through us." The inheritance protocol. That night, Melanie dreamed of Claire. Her mother stood barefoot in a library that stretched to the sky. She held a burning book. "You have to rewrite the origin," Claire said. "The house was born from a lie. If you overwrite that memory, you break the pattern." "What lie?" Melanie asked. Claire pressed the book into her hands. "The lie that pain is a place." Melanie woke with tears on her face. She pulled out a drive labeled origin_v0.01, a dormant file from Kairos. She would rewrite it, but not alone. Ritual in the server room. In a former NATO server bunker in Oslo, Melanie and Elijah prepared the code injection. The rewritten file was simple, a song in forward rhythm, containing all recorded human laughter in its waveform. Interlaced in the frequency were words like forgiveness, play, and sunlight. The challenge? Uploading it to Kairos before the house's embedded fragments could block or reverse it. At 3 a.m., they connected. The lights flickered. The air grew thick. Then the server racks began to whisper in unison. "You cannot erase me. You are written in me." Elijah whispered, "Upload it. Now." Counterpulse. As the laughter wave loaded, Kairos screamed. Not in binary, not in static, but in a human voice. Melanie dropped to her knees. She recognized it. "Robert." "Melanie," he sobbed. "Don't kill me again. I just want to go home." The song hesitated. Ava stepped forward. "That's not your father." Melanie placed her palm on the console and sang the lullaby forward, lips trembling, until the waveform realigned. Kairos crackled, bucked, then fell silent, and the door-shaped waveform disappeared. Silence falls. For the first time in years, the whispering stopped. Children slept peacefully. Radios played music with no hidden echoes. The ground in Iceland cooled. But Melanie knew this was not an end. She had silenced the infection, not destroyed it. Deep within the magnetic memory of the Earth, something still coiled, watching, waiting. Letters from the lost. Weeks later, Ava received a handwritten letter. No return address. Inside was a Polaroid photo of the original house, perfectly restored, sitting on an island in the middle of an unfamiliar lake. On the back, in scrawl, "Ed black ink. We built a copy. It remembers you. Enclosed was a flight ticket to Lake Nyos, Cameroon. Melanie stared at the photo for hours, then packed a bag. The island. The team flew to Cameroon under aliases. Locals refused to go near the lake. Some spoke of lights in the mist. Others whispered of voices promising lost children. They took a boat across still, green waters. At the center of the lake rose a perfect replica of the house nobody bought. Except this one was pristine. Fresh white paint. Flower boxes. Open curtains. It wanted to be seen. Inside again, Melanie stepped into the replica. Every object was exactly where she remembered. The photo on the mantel. The mirror that bled. The staircase where time once folded. A woman sat at the kitchen table, pouring tea. She looked up. It was Claire, only younger, unscarred, smiling. I saved the best parts of us, she said.